September 2005, the ground in the Ethiopian desert cracked open without warning. In just 3 weeks, a fissure tore across the landscape, 56 kilometers, 35 miles long, up to 7.6 meters, 25 feet wide, and deep enough to swallow a house. Hundreds of earthquakes shook the region. Volcanoes erupted, and when scientists arrived to measure the damage, one of them was so stunned by the numbers that he assumed he had made a calculation error. He hadn't. In those few weeks, the ground had moved as much as it normally would in 400 years. Africa is splitting apart, and where it breaks, an ocean will be born. The East African Rift System has been tearing through the continent for around 25 million years, stretching more than 3,200 kilometers, around 2,000 miles, from the Red Sea all the way down to Mozambique. But this isn't just a geological curiosity buried in a textbook. It's the only place on Earth where you can watch in real time a continent being ripped in two. And what comes next will permanently redraw the map of our planet. The crack runs through one of the most hostile places on Earth. The Afar Depression in northeastern Ethiopia is a scorched, alien landscape where summer temperatures climb high enough to cook exposed skin in minutes, and the ground is laced with acidic geothermal pools that glow neon yellow and green. Parts of it already sit below sea level. This is where 3 tectonic plates, the Arabian, the Nubian, and the Somalian, are pulling away from each other simultaneously, creating what geologists call a triple junction. It is the geological equivalent of a seam being unpicked from 3 directions at once. The 2005 fissure didn't just crack the surface, it revealed something far more unsettling happening beneath it. Scientists discovered that a massive plume of molten rock had been building pressure under the Afar region for millions of years, like a slow-motion explosion waiting to detonate. When it finally forced its way upward, it didn't just crack the crust. It injected itself into the gap, wedging the plates apart in a process that normally only happens on the ocean floor. Geophysicist Cynthia Ebinger called it the first known example of this process ever witnessed on land. And it wasn't finished. That pulsing plume beneath Afar isn't done. A study published in 2025 in Nature Geoscience revealed that the mantle beneath the region doesn't rise steadily. It surges in rhythmic pulses, almost like a heartbeat. Lead researcher Emma Watts described it as molten rock being channeled like blood through a narrow artery, moving faster where the crust is thinnest. Each pulse pushes the plates a little further apart. Each pulse brings the new ocean a little closer. The process is relentless, and it has been running for tens of millions of years without pause. But the speed of separation is only half the story. The Somalian plate, the eastern chunk of Africa, is drifting away from the larger Nubian plate at roughly 1.3 centimeters, half an inch, per year. That sounds trivial. But think about it this way. Over a single human lifetime, that movement adds up to the length of your arm. Over 5 to 10 million years, it opens a gap wide enough for the Gulf of Aden and the Red Sea to come flooding in. The Horn of Africa, present-day Somalia, parts of Kenya, Ethiopia, and Tanzania will become its own separate landmass, surrounded entirely by water. The rest of Africa will watch from across a brand new ocean. This isn't the first time Earth has done this. Around 138 million years ago, South America and Africa were a single landmass. Then a rift formed, the crust thinned, the sea rushed in, and the Atlantic Ocean was born. If you tear a piece of paper in half and hold the 2 pieces up, the torn edges still match. That's South America and Africa today. The coastlines still fit together like a broken plate. What is happening in East Africa right now is the same process at the same early stage. The Atlantic didn't form overnight, neither will this. The rift isn't just reshaping the ground, it's already reshaping life on the surface. The Great Rift Valley is lined with some of the deepest lakes in the world. Tanganyika, Malawi, Turkana. These lakes exist because the valley floor has been sinking for millions of years as the crust stretches and thins beneath it. They are the embryonic stages of a future ocean basin, filling with water long before the sea arrives. For the communities living along their shores, the ground beneath their feet is already the floor of tomorrow's ocean. And the violence of that process is not always slow. In 2018, a crack tore open in southwestern Kenya, swallowing a section of highway and forcing residents to flee. It appeared almost overnight following heavy rains, miles long, wide enough to drive a car into. While the immediate trigger was rainfall, the underlying cause was the same slow rifting that has been pulling the continent apart for millions of years. The ground in East Africa is under constant tension. It doesn't always give way quietly. But what scientists found beneath that crack changed how they understood the timeline entirely. The Danakil Depression, sitting at the northern end of the rift in Ethiopia, is already below sea level. In some places, more than 120 meters, 400 feet below. Volcanoes erupt there regularly. Lava lakes bubble at the surface. The crust beneath it is so thin that oceanic-type rock has begun forming where continental rock once dominated. Stand at the edge of the Danakil and you are standing on ground that is actively becoming ocean floor beneath your feet. The ocean isn't just coming. In the Danakil, it has already started arriving. But not every rift becomes an ocean, and that's the part that keeps scientists cautious. North America once had its own massive rift that tore open more than 1 billion years ago, stretched nearly 3,000 kilometers, over 1,800 miles from present-day Detroit to central Kansas, and then simply stopped. It is the deepest failed rift ever discovered. For the people living above a rift that stalls, there is no new ocean, just centuries of earthquakes with nothing to show for it. The East African rift shows every sign of continuing. But then so did the one beneath North America, right up until it didn't. The seismic risk is immediate, even if the ocean is millions of years away. As the plates pull apart, they generate earthquakes across a vast region. Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, and their neighbours sit directly above this zone of constant geological stress. The same force that is building a new ocean cracked a school building in Nairobi and ruptured a water pipeline in Dar es Salaam. For the people living above the rift, this isn't a distant abstraction. It is the ground moving beneath them while they sleep. When the new ocean does eventually form, it will be Earth's sixth. The current 5, the Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Arctic, and Southern, will be joined by a body of water that doesn't yet have a name. The smaller continent it creates will be roughly the size of present-day India. Nairobi, currently sitting hundreds of miles from the nearest coastline, will one day look out over open water. Cities that don't think of themselves as coastal will become port towns on the shore of something entirely new. Scientists estimate the Afar Depression alone could be fully submerged within 500,000 years, a blink of geological time. Virginia Tech geophysicist D. Sarah Stamps has noted that the rate of separation is fastest in the north, meaning the new ocean will begin forming there first, then slowly extend southward as the rift continues to widen. The process will not be uniform. It will be messy, violent in places, and punctuated by events like the 2005 fissure, sudden, dramatic lurches forward that compress centuries of movement into days. The 2005 crack in the Ethiopian desert is still there. You can find it on satellite imagery today, a raw, jagged scar across the Afar landscape, dry and silent, with no water in sight. It looks like nothing. But beneath it, a mantle plume pulses upward in rhythmic surges. The crust grows thinner with every passing year, and the Somalian plate drifts a little further east. Scientists call it a nascent ocean basin. The people living above it call it home. One day, both of those things will be true at the same time, and the water will come regardless.